Do not blink, because the next sentence could save you hundreds of dollars the very next time you get on I-95. Starting tomorrow, stretches of the busiest highway in America quietly turn into automatic fine zones, where you do not need to see a police car, you do not need to hear a siren, and you do not even need to know you broke a rule before a notice with your name and your license plate shows up in your mailbox. If you drive on I-95 even once in the next few days, there is a very real chance you could come home to a fine in the mail without ever being pulled over, without ever seeing flashing lights, and without any idea what you did wrong until the letter arrives. That is exactly what is starting to happen right now along the I-95 corridor, and most drivers still think the old rules apply. The truth is, new enforcement technology and new state laws have quietly turned stretches of this highway into automatic fine zones, and if you do not know where they are and how they work, you are basically driving with your wallet open. This is not a rumor, and it is not a scare tactic. Multiple states along I-95 have flipped on speed cameras in work zones that start with a warning period and then switch to real fines that get mailed to the registered owner of the vehicle. In Connecticut, for example, cameras are now active in specific I-95 work zones, and any driver going 10 miles per hour or more over the posted limit first gets a warning notice, and then on the next violation within a year, a $75 fine. If you hit 85 miles per hour or more in one of these zones, you get fined on the very first offense. No warnings, no second chances. These are not moving violations that add points to your license, but they are still real money leaving your bank account, and they can stack up fast if you use the same stretch of road every day. Down in Delaware, the situation is even more aggressive. On a busy work zone near Wellington, cameras are clocking speeds
and issuing civil penalties to anyone going 11 miles per hour or more over the limit. The base fine starts at $20, and then you pay an extra $1 for every mile per hour over the posted speed. That means if the work zone says 55 and you roll through at 91, your fine jumps to over $400 before any extra fees. For the first few weeks, some drivers got warnings, but that grace period is over, and now hundreds of people are getting tickets in the mail for driving through what they thought was a normal highway stretch. There are no points on your license, your insurance company is not automatically notified, but your wallet still feels it, and if you ignore these notices, they can turn into serious problems with registration and renewal. Pennsylvania has taken a different but equally dangerous route for distracted drivers. A new law named after a fallen state trooper makes it illegal to hold your phone at all while driving, even when you are stopped at a red light or sitting in heavy traffic. The fine is $50 plus court costs, and police have been running checkpoints and targeted patrols to catch people using handheld devices. This applies to all drivers, not just new ones, and it covers everything from texting to scrolling through maps to recording videos. Hands-free is still allowed for calls, GPS, and music, but the moment your hand touches that phone while the car is in motion or in traffic, you are breaking the law. If you are on I-95 in Pennsylvania and you pick up your phone to change a song or check a message, you are not just risking a crash, you are risking a ticket that shows up weeks later with a bill attached. What makes all of this so tricky is that most of these zones do not look different from any other stretch of highway. The signs are there, but they blend in with construction barriers and normal traffic flow, and a lot of people are so used to I-95 that they drive on autopilot. You think you are
doing 65 like everyone else, but the work zone limit is 55, and the camera does not care that the whole lane is speeding. It only cares that you are 10 miles over, and it will capture your plate, match it to your registration, and send you a notice. By the time you read it, you have already driven through that zone dozens of times, and you start wondering how many of those trips also got recorded. This is also not just about I-95. The way enforcement is moving in 2026, what starts on the busiest highways tends to spread to other interstates on local roads over time. Average speed cameras that measure how fast you go between 2 points instead of just at one spot are being tested and expanded in different parts of the country. Move-over laws are getting stricter, now covering any vehicle with hazard lights on the shoulder, not just police and emergency cars. If you pass a broken-down car with its lights on and you do not slow down and move over, you can be fined even if no officer is standing there. Some places are also linking traffic violations to insurance checks in real time, so a single ticket can trigger a review of your policy and potentially higher premiums for years. Think about what that means for your everyday driving. One moment of distraction, one chicanistic speed habit in a work zone, one quick glance at your phone at a red light, and you are not just risking a crash, you are risking a chain reaction of financial consequences. A $400 fine does not just disappear. If you get a few of them, your insurance company may eventually see a pattern, even if these are civil penalties, and your rates can climb.
For people who commute on I-95 every day, that adds up to thousands of dollars over a few years, all because the rules changed and nobody told them clearly enough. So what do you actually do to protect yourself? First, assume that every construction zone on I-95 has a camera unless you see clear proof otherwise. When you
see orange signs, cones, or narrowed lanes, immediately drop your speed to at least 5 miles below the posted limit until you are completely out of the work zone. Do not wait until you see a camera sign, because by then you may already be in the enforcement area. Second, treat your phone like it is off limits the moment you start driving. Put it in your pocket, in a bag, or on a mount where your hands never touch it while the car is moving or stopped in traffic. If you need to change your music, your navigation, or respond to a message, pull over safely and handle it when the car is fully parked. Third, give yourself more time on your trips. A lot of speeding happens because people are running late and feel pressure to make up minutes on the highway. If you leave 10 or 15 minutes earlier, you remove that pressure, and you are less likely to push the speed limit in zones where cameras are active. Fourth, talk to the people you share cars with. If your spouse, your teenager, or your coworker borrows your vehicle, they need to know that your car could be racking up fines without you even knowing until the mail arrives. Make it a rule that anyone driving your car follows the same strict habits in work zones and with phone use. It is also important to understand how these fines are structured so you do not panic when you see one. In most of these programs, the notices come as civil penalties, not criminal tickets. That means they do not add points to your license in many states, and they do not show up as moving violations on your driving record. But they are still legally enforceable bills tied to your vehicle registration. Ignoring them can lead to late fees, collection actions, and problems when you try to renew your plates or registration. If you do get a notice, read it carefully, check the date, location, and speed listed, and decide whether to pay or contest it based on the instructions provided. If you genuinely believe it is a mistake, most programs
have an appeal process, but you usually have a limited window to act. Another layer to watch for is scams. Because so many people are getting traffic and toll notices in the mail and by text, scammers are sending fake messages that look like official fines. They will include links that ask for your personal information or payment details. Real notices from state programs will come with official letterheads, clear contact information, and instructions that do not pressure you to click suspicious links. If something feels off, go directly to the official state transportation or DMV website instead of trusting the link in the message. The bigger picture here is that driving in the United States is changing fast. Technology is making it easier to enforce laws without officers on the side of the road, and states are using that to target dangerous behaviors like speeding in work zones and distracted driving. For responsible drivers, this can mean safer roads and fewer crashes. For people who are not aware of the new rules, it can mean a series of expensive surprises. The drivers who do best are the ones who adapt early, who treat every work zone as a camera zone, and who completely remove handheld phone use from their driving habits. If you take one thing from this, let it be this. Do not wait until you get a fine to change how you drive on I-95. Start today. Slow down sooner in construction areas. Keep your phone out of your hands at all times behind the wheel. And assume that if a behavior feels risky, it is probably being recorded somewhere. Share this with anyone you know who commutes on I-95 or drives frequently along the East Coast. Because the person who needs to hear this most is the one who thinks they already know the rules. The drivers who survive this new era without bleeding money are the ones who learn first, adjust fast, and never let their guard